right, Rob? Where's your hair gone, Sarah?
Yeah.
Cut it off.
Yep. Got sick of it.
Wow.
Got totally and utterly sick of it. So it's gone.
That is change and a half.
It is, but well. It's good as the rest of it.
Yeah, that is a change.
Yep.
She said to me, she's so bossy. She had to use the banana stuff, and she said to me, "Make sure you use banana stuff, mummy."
That's that gone. Right, where's Rob gone? There he is. He's unmuted himself. You look a bit excited about today.
Oh, it's a big deal, eh? I thought you just spent £100 on Sports Direct.
Oh, you're joking.
No, I've just done it through here.
Oh, you've done it through here?
Yep.
Wow.
My daughter was wanting trainers and all that for her birthday, so I thought I may as well just get it through there.
Amazing. Right, okay, I'll wait for a few more to come on. Hopefully we will get a few more on, but we've got Martin that's going to come on shortly, and I've worked with Martin in the past before. I know a few of you will know that I spin quite frequently, and whilst I've been spinning, I've been having a lot of problems with my knees, and what Martin's been able to do for me, he's been able to change my complete mindset for me, so that therefore I don't feel any pain at all. He's literally tapped into my subconscious mind, and the way that he tapped into my subconscious mind, I literally had a conversation with him. It lasted about 5 minutes, and then after this conversation with him, nothing's been the same since. It really hasn't. It really hasn't. So right, Paula, you're with us now, and that's what counts. And nothing has really been the same since, and it's made me realise that no matter what I've got in front of me, it's not an obstacle. None of it's an obstacle. It's just a case of, completely changing the way that I thought before, but I didn't really change the way I thought myself before. He redid it for me. It was like as if he reprogrammed me completely. He's going to come on in about 10-15 minutes, so it gives us time to just discuss and reflect on what's happened today. I'm gonna bring Rob off mute as well. Are you right there? Are you there with me, Rob?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm really good. Just watching the Zoom fill up, which is always fantastic, and I do always appreciate you guys jumping on and giving us your time as well, because you don't have to do this, you don't have to come on with us, but it is appreciated. That I can't say it's not, because it is. Obviously we had new products come over to the company since Sunday, and it's been really busy, and one of the things that I've noticed within the team as well is that we've got a high number of customers coming on. What I would suggest and say to everybody, that if you've got customers that are coming on, what you want to be doing is you want to be, instead of sending out to them the top link, send out the bottom link. And the reason why you want to send the bottom link out to them is that you want to get these people to literally sign up into your business as affiliates. The reason why you want them to sign straight into your business as affiliates is that when they sign up as an affiliate, they are automatically in a position whereby they can actually get paid for everything that they do through the portal. Now, the thing about it is the minute they're getting paid for what they can do through the portal, what they will then do is they will actually start talking to their friends about it, and they'll do it organically. They won't even realise that they're networking. It will be no different than if they'd gone to a restaurant, they'd enjoyed a burger, they'd talk about it. if you've got a situation whereby that you're signing these people up and they're coming in as customers, they're not going to get anything other than the discounts that we're offering. They're not going to get paid for it. The real money for you guys is, Tina, we do want customers too. Yeah, we do. But the thing about it is would it not be more powerful for you if you've got someone that joins as an affiliate? They're able to get paid. The minute they consider they get paid by it, they can then talk to other people. If they come in as a customer, they're not going to get paid for it. So if they're not getting paid for it, they're not going to talk about it as much as what if they would if they were getting paid for it. And that's why what I would always recommend to anybody within this business, don't send your customer link. Send your sign up link.
Yeah, I was going to say to them, because there's different ways, and Sam's quite right. I think if they want to know about, a product, a service, and you're going to send them, and they say, well, why do I sign up for the business? You can always say that, we've got a way that you can actually earn a bit more money back from you getting, the product or the service. So if you word it in the right way, and you're not asking them to do the business, but the point being, you can also, if it was gas and electric, for example, that they could be getting £9.45 back just for signing up. So that would, in my view, would be an option that I would probably start using more now than I did before for that reason. So you're not only potentially saving the money with electric and gas, as we use that as an example, but you're also giving them a little bit extra, and there's no risk to doing it. So what that will do, what Sam's saying, is that may encourage them to say, oh, this is good, I even get a little bit of money back. They may then want to talk to others about it. So without realising, you're promoting the business in a different way. That would be my understanding of that. That's what I'm going to start doing. So I think it's a really good idea.
I mean, obviously, Tina's just turned around and said, but we still need to do the 4, 3, 2, 1. Of course, but if you look at it with everything that we've got at the moment, we are 4, because we can purchase 4 products through the business. If you look at it, we've got car insurance, we've got the pet insurance, we've got life insurance, we've got home insurance, we've got the gas, the electric. If you look at it right now, if Sports Direct's just come on board, most mums will be at the point right now whereby they're going to be looking within the next 3 to 4 weeks of going out and getting new sports kits for their kids. So you've got a position here right now whereby you can actually turn around and say to people, before you actually go out and buy the kit for the children, sign up to this and get paid to do it. The minute they've done something like that, believe me, they will talk to their friends because they've got paid to buy trainers for their children for school. They'll talk about that a lot more than what they will a 5% discount, because we're used to shopping around and getting discounts, but we're not used to getting paid. Yeah,
I think there's one point to consider with Sports Direct. If you've already got an account with them, from what I'm understanding of that, you won't get the commissions there. It's for new customers, from what I understand. That's come from Abba, so we just need to clarify that. So if you have an account with Sports Direct, you may not get commission from that side. So we might need to just clarify that side of it, because that's the one thing that Abigail put a comment on one of my posts there. So we might need to just clarify that one.
Do you know what
that is? If you just go in and register with another email address.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Register a different email address and put it in your partner's name. Simple as.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So make sure everyone does that, aware of that, because if they go for, and they've already got an account, then from what I understand, we need to clarify how that works. So if I put another email in, so we just get some clarification on that. But yeah, that's the way I was thinking of it anyway. But yeah.
We don't know what the CV value is as yet. We have to wait for that to be given to us. It'll be the same as what it was when the other products were launched. We'll literally get a table which has got that on it, but there's more products that are about to come on, and that's why we haven't got a tally table at the moment. And you'll keep seeing that within your back office, it's just constantly growing. It's not going to stop. This is not going to stop at all, guys. What you're seeing right now is the tip of the iceberg. You're sitting on top of I say this all the time, you're sitting on top of an absolute monster. You're in a position whereby no matter who walks by you in the street, you can offer them something. Ask yourself this: have you ever been in that position before in multi-level marketing?
The thing I would also say, because what Sam's saying is so right, and there's lots of opportunities out there, but are you guys, and put a 1 in the chat bar, are you guys seeing it like we are there? Do you see that the products and services from let's when you started, when maybe the electron gas was the big thing we were talking about, and it's phenomenal on its own, okay? Can you see how the business is evolving in the space of time that we've had it? Look what's come on. Yeah, look what's come on, guys. We are getting now, people are asking, I had someone just earlier, just messaged me, been around for a while, just said to me, what's this Sports Direct thing? So people will start asking questions. So when you've got that power to do that and say, look, well, this is what the company's doing, it's not going to stop there. If you picture it in your mind that it's going to be a one-stop shop for everything that you can possibly think of, because that's where this is going, there's no reason, if you think about the 4-3-2-1, okay, obviously the commission value points that we get have to be looked at, but ultimately you get the customers by what? Well, okay, holidays, insurances, Sports Direct, there's sofas, there's loads of stuff here, and I'm trying to think, what would someone like to be able to earn commission on? Everything we've got, and it's going to be more. So if you get your head around and think, right, 6 months' time, you watch, note today, 6 months' time, we'll be having a conversation saying, look, this is where we are, this is exploding, because the volume is going to increase, the actual numbers are just going to go through the sky, and more people are coming on board. Let me just say that, there's more people coming on board that are serious people in network marketing. That's telling you something.
Also, what I do strongly recommend, and we all forget to do this, is do your follow-up. If you've been keeping a record of everybody that you spoke to since you started this, go back through them, because now is the time to go back through them. You need to do your follow-ups. It's really, really important, because the money is in the follow-up. Not only is the money in the follow-up, what I would also recommend to anybody that has got anybody underneath them, that they've walked into the company and then they've decided that it wasn't right for them at this right moment in time. One thing that Rob and I do is we do generic voice clips. You send a generic voice clip right the way down, so they know what the new products are. Because the chances are they are not going to know what you guys got to offer at the moment. I've had it today whereby I got an inbox out the blue, I need to come back. And this person felt the need to come back because they're seeing things about 4-3-2-1 just exploding here, there and everywhere. So even though we've got people who it wasn't right for them 6 weeks ago because they've looked at gas and electric, Martin, you're with us. Hello.
Hello there. How are you?
Hello. You just popped out of nowhere, didn't you?
Oh, I'm looking very red on that camera as well.
Oh, you're still looking lovely. I'll just wrap this up and then I'm going to give it to you, Martin.
No worries.
But basically, go back to these people, because if they were in a situation whereby they only had a prepayment meter, if we look at it 8 weeks ago, we weren't really running with that. We couldn't really offer that to anything to anybody. They were coming on board and they were really hyped up, and then they were completely deflated because we didn't have what they wanted. What we've got right now, everybody takes a bit off, so this is a mass movement and we need to get moving with this. Now, I am going to introduce Martin. You can see that Martin is on the call. This is how I met Martin. It's been on my Facebook friends list for a while, and because we network, I didn't even realise who he was. That's bad, isn't it? But I'm sure you're all in that same position whereby you've got a high number of people on your Facebook and you don't know who everybody is. He put an ad up and he wanted guinea pigs for what he does is a pain relief. And because me being me, when I get in that gym, I want to be able to hammer that gym. I want to be able to give it my 100%. I don't want to be, getting to 75% and that's it. I'm going downhill. So I literally sent Martin a private inbox, first of all, didn't get any acknowledgement, and then I sort of shouted a bit on it, like, I'm here. And I went down and I saw Martin, and I'm sure some of you can probably remember me putting a post up saying that I was going to go and have my unsubconscious mind tapped into. Well, this is who done it. This is Martin. So I'm going to close us all down, even myself, and I'm going to let Martin take over.
Right. I'm open exactly what people are interested in. I'll give a small indication, but I think it's better as a sort of question and answer session so that people aren't getting information they don't really want or aren't interested in. So I'll start, and then if anyone wants to jump in, feel free.
What
that
we've
all right?
got, Martin, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the chat box on the side? Get the chat up.
No, how do I get that?
Are
I've
you
never
on
used this
PC or a
before.
computer? PC or phone?
PC, yeah.
Okay, down the bottom of the bar, there's like a chat icon. If you hit the
Yeah.
button on that, there should be a bar that comes up on the right-hand side where you can see the chat.
It's a whole new window. And it just says, from Gina to everybody, me. That's all I can see.
Okay, right, that's the chat. Okay, so what we can
Right.
do is if anybody's got a question that they want to ask you, we can put it in the chat box. You can see it appear there, and then you can answer it. That way, not everybody's speaking at the same time.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Yeah, brilliant. All right then. Bit like Facebook Live then. Don't bombard me too much, I get confused. So yeah, I'll introduce myself. Are you ready for me to just go on then?
Take the floor.
Okay, thanks very much for that, Sam. So I'm Martin Rothery. I am a hypnotist and a pain eliminator. And although that sounds, people are always like, oh, are you going to make me cluck like a chicken and stuff like that? There is so much more. Yes, I probably could, but I don't like to because I think, personally, hypnosis is a force for good. And it should be used that way. I don't like the whole humiliation aspect of stage stuff, so I always turn that away when people ask me. So between a mix of using what you would think of hypnotherapy yourselves, going into trance, not remembering everything, and a mix of more of a conscious talking in the same way as I'm talking to you now. Now that is still hypnotherapy. Even yourselves as coaches, if any of you coach, if any of you public speak, you are being hypnotists. Because anything you say to somebody else that has a profound effect on their lives, you are changing their subconscious programming. And that's basically what hypnosis is. Now, on the speciality side, my niche is pain. And I'll explain a bit more about that in a minute, why I still work with everything else as well. But the pain aspect, there is no trance, there is no traditional form of hypnotherapy. This is something that's new to the world, and I'm training some of the best hypnotists in the country in this. The particular event that Sam came to, I had some of the big earners in the country come to train with me, and that's why she came as a volunteer for me to demo the process. Now going into it a bit more, pain is not a real thing. If you cut your finger with a knife, the pain is not in your finger, it's in your head. A message to say something's wrong. Sometimes these messages get stuck there and they become chronic pains. If pain's no longer serving a purpose, if you've got pain from something that you can't do anything about anymore, you don't need that message. So we can effectively delete it, which is what we do. Going on further from that, I class pain as a form of an anxiety. I class phobias as an anxiety. Anything that you're not happy about is a form of anxiety to me. And all an anxiety is a miscommunication between the conscious and the unconscious mind. This includes going right down to things like limiting beliefs for yourselves who are into network marketing and stuff. If you're of the belief that you can't do this, or you're going to have a bad day today, or the opposite end, yes, things are going to go great today. If your conscious mind and your unconscious mind are in line with each other, you will create whatever you're thinking about. And this is what's termed as law of attraction. I hope as network marketers, you are aware of the law of attraction, because that is a big factor in what you do. And it will have an effect on whether you're successful or not. So the main aspect of what I do is to put your conscious mind in contact with your unconscious. Now, during standard hypnotherapy that you might sort of be aware of, consciously you're not really alert anymore, you're not there. So standard hypnotherapy to me is a bit of a dictatorship. Us as an operator are dictating to you what you're going to change. Whereas the method I use, and I used on Sam, and she can vouch on the effectiveness of it, you are completely conscious. As I'm talking to your unconscious mind, I'm talking to your conscious mind as well. And you get in tune with it. And Sam said herself on a review of me and to myself in person, it wasn't just the pains that she was suffering that were removed. She felt like all of her blockages, all her cells are just revitalizing. Because we'd basically, hands-on distant Reiki. Yeah, one of my colleagues, we got a training group called the Power of Three, and one of my colleagues is a Reiki specialist. I'll come back to that in a moment. Basically, with Sam and with every other client that I deal with, although I'm dealing with a specific issue, I'm putting the conscious and the unconscious mind in alignment with each other where they can properly communicate. So there is no misunderstanding, there's no misconceptions. You can basically ask for what you want. Now, a big factor of this is, and it's whether you like hypnosis, whether you like my other methods, whether you like law of attraction, positive thinking, you must not think along the terms of what you don't want. So if you don't want to be in debt, you can't think, I don't want to be in debt anymore, because all your unconscious is picking up is debt. And that's what it'll give you. So you have to think, I want my life to be full of abundance, or I want to have plenty of money coming in. You need to think of what you do want, not what you don't want. So in the essence of pain, one of the first things I tell people is don't look for pain anymore. Don't say, I don't want to be in pain anymore, because your unconscious mind will just pick up the pain and give it you. Whereas if you think, I want to be healthy, fit, as a normal, healthy person should be, that's what your mind will give you. I hope that makes sense to everybody there. That was a sort of a real quick drum in on the main aspect I'm dealing with. And as network marketers, I think it's invaluable for yourselves to know that. Yes, I do this too. Yeah. So you're all agreeing with that. And studying the law of attraction is fantastic. The Reiki, I don't want to ruffle any feathers here. I do believe all these things work, whatever they are. But I do feel that they are just alternate ways to get the conscious and the unconscious talking to each other closely, with bells and whistles added. With the Reiki, yeah, it's energy flowing, it's stuff like that, but you can do that with a voice. You said yourself, Sam, didn't you? You could feel the energy flowing through your body, and that was just with my voice. Mm-hmm. There was no stones, there was no access bars where they're holding the hands around you. I do this over the phone, and it is still only a conversation, and it's activating that exact same thing. And whenever I do this with people, most people report feeling pins and needles or warmth, either in their extremities or in the area where the pain was. They can feel that energy, and it's just with words. So you can add your bells and whistles, personal opinion, to make it Reiki, to make it spiritual healing, to make it angel Reiki. But in my eyes, it still boils down to you're just really putting that conscious and the unconscious and the super consciousness as well, all into alignment with each other. I got into doing this because of the law of attraction, because I realized the law of attraction and setting affirmations and manifesting, by the conscious mind alone, you had that critical thinking in the way that was always there, sort of saying, well, what if it doesn't happen? Whereas if you can bypass that critical faculty to get straight into the subconscious, then your ideas are going straight into the superconsciousness with no barriers. So you're going to activate it a lot quicker.
How would you advise us on a daily morning to tap straight into our subconscious mind so that we set our day up the way that we want our day to go?
I would highly recommend you all to learn self-hypnosis. Now, I'm not trying to upsell or anything here. I do teach you, but you can just as easily get training videos off YouTube. Mine went blank there. Off YouTube and the like. If anyone wants to add me as a friend on Facebook or look into what I do, I'm happy to guide people free of charge. If you want full training, obviously that costs. But self-hypnosis is an amazing aspect to it, and it's sleep hypnosis. Yes, sorry, that is another way to do it. I do sell affirmation CDs to people, but I'm not pushing it, because I think you need that connection there. And again, with sleep hypnosis, I presume you mean where you're listening to a CD or an MP3 while you're asleep. Is that what you mean, Paula? I'll wait for the answer on that. But that you're still having somebody else telling you what you want.
Yes, hi, Martin.
Hello.
Hi, I've not got my screen on, sorry.
No, that's fine.
What it is, it's actually on YouTube, the stuff that I listen to.
Yeah.
And I listen to it as I'm drifting off to sleep.
Yeah.
I struggle with getting to sleep, but I find that really helps. But
I mean, that's great. You're basically using this like you were in a hypnotherapy session with somebody else. I'm not a big fan of that, because I still think it's somebody else telling you what to do. And
Okay.
we're not here to be told what to do, in my eyes.
No.
I think
I don't like being told what to do.
no, but that's what you're doing at night.
Yeah. Okay.
You're having somebody telling you what to do. Whereas with self-hypnosis, you make your affirmation at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then you put yourself into your self-hypnosis, and you can set it to last a full night's sleep, or you can set it to last 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I do this regularly. I'm one of these people. I like my naps in the afternoon. I like to get a good couple of hours nap. But I put myself into trance to do it, and the same at night. And it's literally seconds from fully awake to down and out to sleep. And it's a couple of hours good training, and you'll be able to do it just like that. And from that, you are setting your affirmations without the conscious thinking in the way. You're accessing it directly into the subconscious, which then puts it straight into the superconsciousness.
To be honest, I think this is something that I've been missing, because I've been relying on other things that I'm listening to telling me what to do. I don't know if it's having as much of an effect if I was doing it all myself. So that's great. Thank you.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to encourage, if Sam's all right with this, I'm going to encourage you all to make friends with me on Facebook. And in the next couple of days, I will put a link to a post that I wrote quite a while ago about the law of attraction and hypnosis. And I actually did a seminar on this locally. But I'm thinking about doing some more similar things. And it's all how hypnosis helps the law of attraction to work faster. And it'll just give you an insight into, in fact, it might actually be on my website as well, but I'll put a link up. If you all have me as a friend on Facebook, I'll put a link up, and you can read it and take it from there. But the whole idea of self-hypnosis, a lot of therapists will tell you it's just like what you're doing, listening to CDs and that's self-hypnosis. It isn't. It's guided hypnosis. Self-hypnosis is when you put yourself into trance anytime you want, instantly, for as long as you want. Your body clock is amazing. You can say, right, I'm going into trance 5 minutes, and you will wake up very closely. I will just put the message here on what my name is. If you search me on Facebook, there's two of me. There's me with my wife on one picture, and there's me, black and white photo, on the other. You want to add the black and white one because that's the business one. That's where I put all my information, all my posts, all my adverts, stuff like that. I do spam it quite a lot, but they're nice posts. I never post anything negative, so you might enjoy it anyway. Where was I?
So you put yourself in a trance.
Yeah, so you even when I work, when Sam saw a small amount of my training session. Even when I work, when I do this now, when I hold a training event, when I hold a public event, I don't plan anything. There is no notes, there's no work for me to do beforehand. I go in blind, and I go into trance, an open trance, not a sleep trance, an open one, and my unconscious mind takes over completely. And even when I'm writing posts on Facebook, I never think about what I'm writing. I let it happen. And your unconscious mind is so powerful. It has every bit of experience that you've ever had. Everything you've ever seen, read, heard, felt is stored in there. One of the other things I advertise, again, it sounds like I'm upselling. I really am not. I don't like the idea of people who hire coaches. because again, it's somebody telling them what to do. They have everything in their own minds. So I have this trick that I actually thought quite a lot of people did, but it appears they don't, because they're all coming to me for training. But I call it an interactive lucid dream. And I send people on a little journey inside their own minds, and they have some fascinating experiences. But if they go in with a purpose, they will get the answers. And they will come back thinking with so much clarity on where they might have been thinking, well, shall I do this or shall I do that? Or is this right? Or is that person right? The unconscious mind will filter out every bit of information that's relevant from their entire lives and just use it to find the answers that they want. Users heard of that before. There's people that do, there's mindscaping, I think Terry Watts does, who's a good hypnotherapist. There's dynamic mental imagery, where you're using your symbols and everything. There's several versions. I'm not saying I've created it, it's unique to me. I've taken a mix of methods and come up with what I think. Related to NLP, NLP to me is not a thing. NLP to me is just another form of hypnotherapy. It's another method of hypnotherapy. It's purely using language, which hypnotherapists have been doing for years. It's been developed by, what's his name? I've done his training package and I can't think what it is. It was developed to iron out some of the problems people were facing, but it is still hypnotherapy. And even those hypnotherapists that have learned poorly and use scripts, the scripts have all been based on what NLP is based on now. It's about changing the mind. The NLP is, again, somebody telling you things to make your mind switch its ideas. Whereas the interactive lucid dreaming, I have minimal input apart from echoing what you're saying. So I would take you somewhere. I would start you off in a nice place, what I call sanctuary, but then I'd ask your unconscious mind to create a gateway, and it'll send you in and you start in a whole new place that I have nothing to do with. It's a place your unconscious mind creates. You describe it to me, and I imagine it as if I'm there with you. And I just keep asking you, what are you seeing? What do you think that means? Try talking to that person. Try looking for this on that desk. And it's just a way to bring the unconscious mind fully forward to help you with whatever problem you've got, whatever issue you've got, anything like that. There has been reports, well, obviously I'm actually experiencing it with them. One of my trainees on Friday, I did a demo with her after she'd finished training, and she was convinced her dead daughter was in the room with her, and she could actually feel her ruffling her hair and touching her nose. And a client that I did this with last week, actually experienced his granddad's entire life in the space of about 2.5 hours. And he didn't realize it was his granddad's life because his granddad looked exactly like him. So when he was seeing in the mirror and stuff, he thought it was a younger version of him, but it wasn't. And it's only when he related the story to some of his family members, they're like, you need to go through all your photos and stuff from granddad, because this is where he was. He was in that. He was there. He did this. And this bloke had never been to these places, but he was seeing it, and he was the person. So I am very open-minded, and I will not say this is a spiritual thing, but it seems to have spiritual elements where people are contacting, whether it's their unconscious mind creating the experience or whether it's real or not. But they're coming back elated. They're coming back with a completely whole new outlook where they've got their answers, they've resolved their issues, they've got symbols or metaphors that they've taken inside them. Even simple stuff. I did this to an alcoholic, and his unconscious mind took him into a cave full of water. Well, he described it as, excuse my language, shitty water. And it was basically a sewage water. And his mind created a float for him, which he brought into himself, and it went into his chest, and he was then floating above this water. That is all I did to him. He's never touched a drink since, and this was 4 months ago. So it's an amazing process. Now, obviously, you need guidance for that sort of thing. You can't do this yourself because you need somebody to interact. Sorry, that wasn't to me, was it? Sam?
No, it's my daughter.
No, that's all right.
Very
so,
sick.
but another thing that I do a lot is I regress from my original topic to something completely different, and it keeps people interested, and it's a good part of storytelling. But the self-hypnosis side of it, learn to get yourself into a trance instantly, with a mission, with an affirmation, whichever, and pile that in while you're in your trance. Do that for 5 minutes a day. Use that instead of your visualization. If you do visualization, then try to replace it with this, because it's still a visualization, but you're doing it subconsciously rather than consciously. Now, hypnotherapists are taught that between the conscious and the unconscious mind, you've got the critical faculty, and that's like a guard at a gate. And that's what protects your blueprints. Our job is to bypass that critical faculty, but you can do it yourself with self-hypnosis. Sorry, I've just been really not reading these messages, just going to quick scan through them. What can you do with pain online? Most of my pain work, 70% of my pain work is actually done over Skype, because I've got clients in Africa, Canada, Caribbean, Australia, all over. I can do it over Skype or over the telephone, and it works. It's guaranteed. I don't charge. If pain remains at the end of my session, I don't charge a penny. That's how confident I am in it. So if that answers you, Sarah. I have done some levitating. The power of the mind is amazing strength. You've only got to read in the news these stories that people never believe, but I've actually seen it. A woman whose child's got caught under a car, and they can actually lift a whole car. The only limits to our abilities is our imagination. When a loved one is caught under a heavy object, you are in shock, which bypasses that critical faculty. So suddenly your beliefs don't matter anymore, and you find you can do a hell of a lot more. And that's where things like levitation and stuff like that come in. I really don't have any beliefs that there are any limits. There is no such word as can't. We were told that as kids. I understand it so much more now. There is no such word as can't. That sounds incredible. Yes, it absolutely is. Past life regression with training, but this isn't that. We're not saying the person is experiencing a past life. The occurrences this has happened to are very much they're still themselves, but they feel like a loved one's come in to talk to them or give them a message. The one that I can't say to, although she has given me permission to talk about this, so I suppose I can. She was a trainee for I call it dreamscaping. She was a trainee, and I took her on a session, and her mind tried to block her by putting a portaloo in the way, which she found disgusting. But we walked round the portaloo and carried on the journey. And she ended up sat on a bank, and she found some round stones that she was playing with, and that's when her daughter came to her. Now, she went in. I didn't ask her what her issue was, because the whole idea of this training was to work content-free, so that people don't have to explain what the issue is. They can just deal with it. So she went in with the idea that her family had all disowned her because of what she does, because she's a therapist and they don't agree with it. And she felt very alone. And the message she got from her daughter being there was, she felt her daughter saying to her that you are not alone, I'm always with you. And when she came back, she was her actual comment on my Facebook was, the only thing that ever came close to that experience was a transfiguration medium. And that's the only time she's ever felt anything as close to good as that. Loving this, need to speak to you. Yeah, Michael, if you've added me on Facebook, I'll accept after the call, and then we can have a chat whenever you want. Full day, you'll be surprised what you can do in a full day. I usually work on an hour or two, but as long as you want. Morphine doesn't touch it. Perfect. Most people will not come to me until they get to the point where medicine doesn't work because they're skeptical. Add me on Facebook, drop me a message, give me some details of what your pain is. You don't have to go into it on here. Drop me a message, I'll tell you how I can help, and we can do it. If it doesn't work, you don't pay. If you do, it is £150, but like I said, it's guaranteed. And Sam can tell you how good it is.
I'll tell you how I felt.
I'm just,
after I had Martin.
yeah, go on while I read through these. Go on.
I literally felt like my whole body had been reborn. I literally stood there and I could feel this energy go right the way. I can't remember if it was top to bottom. It was top to bottom. It just literally went from the top. And it was like an energy that just went right the way around my whole body. But what I could actually feel at the same time is every single stem cell in my body was being repaired. He just...
You've seen me at my worst, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think it would work?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have, when you go on my Facebook, look at visitors' posts. I've had people have operations cancelled because one person had a slip disc that was that bad. It had split in two. One half was lodged against her nerves. The other was sticking out. Her chiropractor and her doctor both said this was unhealable. She needed an operation and it would likely leave her in a wheelchair. She came to see me. 3 weeks later, she went back to the doctors to get it checked out for the operation. No pain, but she went anyway. And they went, you don't need an operation anymore. For some reason, this is healed. Because the unconscious mind does know how to heal. If you break a bone, who heals it? The doctor doesn't. The body does. The doctor just sets it in place. The unconscious mind sends those cells in the right places to do the repairs. Bad backs are one of my most common. Arthritis and bad backs are the two most common I deal with. Apart from I've got an influx of fibromyalgia at the moment, which is good because I'm trying to hit these people hard because it is not incurable. But I did a Mind Body Soul event. Were you there when? Did you come in time to see me do Tony, the guy with the long nails, Sam? No, he was my first volunteer, and he came in with 2 sticks. He could barely walk. He had a dehydrated disc. He'd been in pain for 14 years, and he'd been walking with a stick for 14 years. I tracked him. He felt great. I saw him this Saturday. This training was like 6 weeks ago-ish. Mm-hmm. I think. I don't know. I lose track of time. I saw him at Mind Body Soul event on Saturday, and he came up to me. He just said, "Look at this." Moved his back all around. He said, "I've thrown my sticks away. I don't need them anymore." And he's about like he's fully healthy again. And this was just asking the unconscious mind to send the healing cells where they were needed the most, and encouraging it to do it. MS, I have dealt with somebody. I'm not going to say I can cure it or anything like that, but I returned his energy and removed pain that he was feeling in his legs and shoulders. PTSD, dead easy. It is not a disorder. It is learnt behaviour. Anything you learn can be unlearned. We could spend an entire night talking about PTSD, but if you want to ask about that sort of on a message, I can fill you in a bit more. Eyes. What I'm going to say to you, whoever's asked that, Dave, what I'm going to say is, what is it you're not wanting to see? I dealt with somebody who was losing their eyesight the other day, and they were trained to be a social worker. And for the last 2 years, she's been studying Baby P. And she's been saying to her unconscious mind, I don't want to see things like this in the world. And she came to that conclusion after I just questioned it a little bit. And she's basically... Correct. Well, all right, perfect. That's a bit better. I use that method because I've done the same with somebody with hearing problems, and it turned out they were arguing with their other half, and they didn't want to hear all the things that were being said, and they were starting to lose their hearing, and it was mixed in with tinnitus. When you ask your unconscious mind for something, it will give it, and if you're stating, "I don't want to see things in the world anymore like this," that'll start to deteriorate your eyesight. I actually, not me, but the guy that created the pain method that I use, he had somebody who was in pain that was starting to lose their hair. And he delved into the questions, and it turns out every night from the pain, she was sat with her head in her hands saying, I don't want to feel this anymore. And what was she feeling? Her hair. So the unconscious mind was thinking, she's saying, I don't want to feel my hair anymore. So it started it falling out. It really does take instructions directly from you. So if you're, I mean, taking it further from pain, if you're saying, I don't want to be in debt anymore, the unconscious mind's hearing debt and thinking, oh, you want debt. Okay, we'll give you debt. If you're saying, I don't want to be anxious. Anxious? Oh, we can do anxious. There we go. Have some anxiety. That's how it works. And it's very literal. And it doesn't care about your positives and negatives. It just does. Post-stroke and pain and mobility problems with my legs. One of the things I do encourage, and I've stopped tremors both from ataxia and Parkinson's with this, is a process called neuroplasticity. Now, mobility problems I will not guarantee. I'm not Jesus. Not yet. Sorry, don't want to ruffle religious stuff there. I will encourage the unconscious mind to look where the problem lies and find a way around it. The pain, if it's not serving a purpose anymore, yes, that can be gone. Thyroid, same thing. Practitioners that I've trained at the moment are removing hay fever, resolving diabetes, blood pressure, other allergies. Thyroid, it's your unconscious mind that's telling it what to create, what not to create. With a bit of encouragement, yes. Again, I wouldn't guarantee something like that because you've got a lot of preconceptions and a lot of presumptions there. But it's easy enough to go in and just have the chat. I can't really explain it without doing it, but you get very clear yeses or nos. Now, Sam, I know what I mean there. You cannot deny when you were getting a yes answer, could you? Even though you're awake, you couldn't control it. So if it's, the thing is, the unconscious mind can't lie. So if it says it's going to do something, it is bound to do that. It has to do it. So if it says it's going to look at your thyroid and control production of whatever it is it produces, then it has to do it. It can't not, because it can't lie. And that's the same with virtually anything that we look at. And there's always a story there. There's always something behind it that's created the situation. With hay fever, quite a lot of people who suffer hay fever might have been bullied at school and it was a way to get out because they were allowed to sort of sit inside or something, or it would come around exam time and they were allowed to sit out their exams. There's always a story about how things start. There's nothing in our DNA that gives us diabetes or allergies or thyroid problems or anything else. And the only thing that separates me from any of you is our DNA. And there's nothing there that does this. Only our unconscious minds and the stories and programming that our unconscious mind has. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's, yeah, I forgot I can't hear everyone, can I? This is what I say to people when they're so skeptical and say, well, how can you cure an allergy? That's in my sort of blood and that. I'm like, why is it? The only thing that's different between us is DNA. There's nothing else that's different, apart from the stories and the blueprints and the programming that our unconscious mind has. So you break the story, break the programming, change the programming, you can resolve those issues. The only thing I can't change is your DNA, unless you give me some gamma rays and $20 billion of research. No, it's anything in your body is controlled by your unconscious. And if it's controlled by your unconscious, we can ask your unconscious to change the way it controls it. And the unconscious will always go to pleasure from pain, happily. It will always go to a positive from a negative. Much better. So if you're having problems with something, if you explain it right to the unconscious, you can always resolve the issues quite easily. It sometimes takes a bit more digging when there's secondary gains, benefits to having problems. Sometimes we have to look at pain. People get financial benefits from pain, disability and stuff. They'll have, some people like the sympathy and the attention that they get from it. Some people have had pain that long, they're scared to let go. And that's where me being a hypnotist also comes in well, because I can change that programming with other methods. And the inner journeys and the dynamic, the interactive lucid dreaming work well with that, to change their ideas of what's going on. So, any other questions on that?
Rob, unmute yourself.
Sorry?
I was going to say, yeah, Martin, yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. I've not done much of this myself, but I think, you know, a lot of what it's saying, in your mind, you know, you've got your inner talk and stuff like that, and your mind is such a powerful thing. And I would say, what got you into this? What, you know, have you experienced this? What made you get involved in it?
I worked out the law of attraction for myself when I was 10 years old. This is like 20 years before before The Secret came out. I figured out how it worked at school, and I used it to my full advantage at school. And it was only through experimenting and realizing why I wasn't getting everything I wanted that I realized what was getting in the way. So I started reading how to control the unconscious mind a bit better, how to quieten down the monkey mind, if you like. And that led me to sort of think, well, we actually need to put ourselves into a different altered state to do this. And I thought, well, we can either do it with drugs or we can do it with hypnosis. Hypnosis is probably cheaper, so we'll go with that route. And I realized how simple and easy it was to do. And things just changed. And I was using other people, and at the beginning I was doing it for free. But even now, I mean, I gave somebody, 2 weeks ago, I gave her a personal abundance MP3. And there wasn't a lot of talking on it. It was just like, it was just focusing beats in the background for 15 minutes, and then a few sentences, then another 50 minutes of the beats, then a few more sentences. Since then, she's got, free of charge, an electric bike she's been after, a load of Reiki stones that she was after, a Fitbit just gifted to her, and numerous other things. And she's like, these are all the things I've been trying to manifest and not getting. I've listened to this once, and in a couple of weeks I've got all of it. So it just, all the way through my journey, I've seen more and more evidence, which has led me to do it more and more and become more and more it.
Okay. What would you say for everyone here? Obviously, we're here mainly for, you know, a opportunity. What would you say, reference to network marketing and how up and down the journey can be? What would you say in your mind is the biggest or most important thing that would help people in terms of how they think in this?
Self-hypnosis, straight away. Self-hypnosis.
Okay.
It's the quickest and easiest way to bypass your own critical thinking, silence your own monkey mind.
Okay.
And get those affirmations straight in.
So how does that determine or different from personal development, reading stuff and doing that kind of thing? How would it differ?
If you imagine, I mean, when you're reading stuff and doing personal development and stuff, your conscious mind's doing it. You're thinking about it all the time. So maybe 5% of what you're taking in will actually go through the critical faculty into the unconscious, where it needs to go before it hits the superconsciousness. The rest bounces off because the unconscious mind, the critical faculty is like, well, that's changing my entire thoughts and ideas. That's changing my blueprints. I'm not having that. That's its job. It doesn't want to change those blueprints unless it's got a good reason. Whereas under self-hypnosis, you're going to send 90% in. Maybe 10% of bounce off because you're not putting it offline completely. It's always there, like a cat with one eye sleeping. A cat sleeping one eye open, you know what I mean. So you're hitting a huge higher percentage of your affirmations going into where it needs to go under self-hypnosis. Whether it is guided, like somebody mentioned was listening to on YouTube, or whether you teach yourself to do it or have somebody train you to do it. Either way, you're still getting it through there. And it just depends whether you prefer somebody else to tell you what to do or you make your own affirmations for yourself. I actually, as an actual session for work, and I'll probably sort of have a chat more with Sam about this. I was struggling a few months ago just on where my next step was going to be. And I used the method I used to do pain, you can do on yourself because there's no trance, there's nothing else. You can actually just do it. So I used the method to get in touch with my unconscious, and I asked my unconscious nicely to remove all my limiting beliefs. And I got a really strong yes that it would agree to do it. And almost the next day, my business went up 100-fold. To the point where I'm actually booked up. I've been booked up solid for the last sort of couple of months. So it's your limiting beliefs that are in your way. Setting your affirmations removes part of them, but you can actually just go in and say, I want all of my limiting beliefs gone. I want all my blocks removing. And if you do that, then the world's your oyster. You can just sit there and think, oh, this is going to happen. Take action, always take action, but you'll get where you want to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one because, on a side note, my youngest suffers a bit with anxiety
Mm-hmm.
at the moment there, and it's looking at ways to, one, remove the situation, and then two, how did he deal with it? And would you say that kind of thing for, he's 14 at the moment, would you say that kind of thing would be good for a child as well, or was it?
Yeah, you can remove those anxieties. It's still only a bit of programming in there. You don't need to remove the situation.
Okay.
That's not, well, long term, that's not healthy. You don't need to handle it. You need to change that programming so it no longer becomes an issue. One of the big things with PTSD, anxieties and stuff like that, and it's usually the last thing I'll try if I'm failing with everything else, but these things don't happen from an event later on. Even PTSD, it is nothing to do, say soldiers, their PTSD is nothing to do with the war. Any of these negative events always start with something that happened before they were 9 years old. Before 9 years old, they don't have a critical faculty. They have no filter to their unconscious mind. So tiny events can get lodged in, and they go in and they're like a grain of sand in an oyster shell. And then subsequent events throughout their lives will layer up that grain of sand. But unfortunately, it's not creating a beautiful pearl. It's creating these negative emotions. And then suddenly some big event will happen, like if they're at war or something, and it puts those final big layers on, which bring it out as a full-blown thing. And this is the same with phobias and that. Generally, phobias get worse over time because they're building up and building up. And another layer, every time they experience something, it's another layer going on. So one of the quickest way to break this is find the original event with a really quick, a 20-minute regression where you trace the emotion, not an event. You don't care about the event because they don't know what the first one was, but you can regress the emotion to the first time they felt the emotion. And it could be as simple as a child sitting on the stairs and listening to his mum and dad argument can create anxiety in later life. And this could happen when they were 2 years old. This actually was something that I dealt with. And then you remove the emotion from that with a quick sort of put them into safety before, safety after, get the adult them to coach the younger them to say everything's going to be all right, you don't need to make an issue with this. Go from safety to safety, remove that emotion, bring them back, everything else breaks down. It has nothing to build up. There was no original grain of sand, so everything else collapses. It's termed as Roman therapy. The Romans, when they fought their wars, they didn't go in and attack a massive group. They picked them off bit by bit. And that's how they were so successful. And this is what we do. When we do a regression, it's break down that first event, make it so that there's no emotion attached, because a trauma is only a trauma because of the emotion. Remove the emotion, it becomes just another event that happened. So break that down, remove that. There is nothing for the rest of it to build on. So the entire lot collapses instantly. Forgiveness comes into it as well. All of my therapists, there's a lot of therapists disagree with me with this. But whenever I do treatments for most things, I will end up putting them in a forgiveness room where they're in a semi-trance, so it's their unconscious mind doing it, and they will bring up anybody that they've got any resentment for, and I'll get them to forgive them. And then I get them to do the same with themselves, bring themselves out in front of themselves, forgive themselves. Because guilt and resentment are some of your biggest blocking features. If you can really truly forgive and let go of things like that, you can just get rid of it all again. Now, some therapists disagree with me there, but every time I do it, there is huge amounts of emotion involved, starting off with remorse and tears of grief or remorse, ending with tears of joy. Always. Now, if it didn't work, there wouldn't be that sort of reaction. So I will. It's one of the few things I'll argue with therapists over. I'm quite happy for everyone to have their own ideas, but when they argue about that with me, I'm like, no, that is the one thing I will argue over. Vivian, with the hay fever, you could, but you'd have to have the training for it. And I do offer training for my pain methods, but you would ideally need the training. I couldn't just say to you, yeah, do this, do that, it'll work. You need the full training. You need the support from me and my peers. Or obviously I could help him myself, and that can be done over the Skype or over the phone. Panic about having a panic attack. And I'm going to guess, Tina, that gets worse each time. I'll be right in thinking that. Always forgive and send love, yes, definitely. Yeah. And that just backs up what I said. It's something that builds up every time, and it will only get worse if you don't deal with it. And it's breaking down that original thing. And it might be something you wouldn't even think about. It could be something so small and so silly. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. That when you actually remove it, you'll just laugh at yourself and think, oh, I'm relieved it's all over, but I can't believe it was all because of that. And that is quite a common reaction I get. So, any other questions there?
I'm a little bit shocked at some of what you said tonight. Like we work together. It's like, I'm going to share something with you guys, and it's very personal, but I'm going to share something with you. At the age of 4 months old, my mum left me on a doorstep, and I was a very, very angry person for years. And I had to actually learn to forgive my mum so that I could move forward in life. So I know what Martin is saying. You really do need to forgive someone, because if you don't forgive someone, you just literally go around in circles and you never get anywhere. So, you know, a lot of what you've said tonight has really resonated with me. It really has. So
Yeah.
thanks, Martin.
No, you're welcome. Anytime. And if any, like I said, if any of you want to add me on Facebook and get in touch, whatever I can help, I will. And we're all here to help each other and sort of get everyone where they want to be, really.
Well, I think you and I are definitely be having another chat so that we can have another session. Would you guys like another session with Martin at all or not? Put one in there if you found this useful and you feel that we should do another session.
Thank you, I'm honoured. Excellent.
Brilliant.
Most ones I've ever seen.
No, I'm grateful for that.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do then, if that's all right with you, Martin, I'm going to ask the guys what sort of thing that they're going to want next, and then we'll see how we can progress with this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've thrown a lot of information out today, and hopefully you'll all go away and think about what's been said, and you will no doubt come up with some questions on that. And you can ask me on Facebook or anything, but you'll have things that you might want to throw in another one, and yeah, take it down that route.
Okay, well, I really appreciate it. Has anybody got anything they want to ask just before we go? Apart from his personal phone number, of course. You do know you have 27 friend requests now.
That's absolutely fine.
Oh, poor. Okay, well, you know what, guys? Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to let us do what we do best so that, you know, hopefully, you know, this has really give you a bit more that, you know, that get rid of the mental blocks and let's do what we're here to do.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all luck. And like I said, I'm there wherever I can help anyone. Absolutely. All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.